Welcome, affiliated listeners, to another tender, thoughtful, and possibly thankful episode of Pillow Talk. Pillow Talk with Thomas and I, where we share the thoughts, opinions, and things that we care about in affiliate marketing and hope that you also care or find them interesting and informative. So today we are in the thankful season, the time that we reflect at the end of the year, consume food that's probably not good for us in large quantities, and remember why we don't spend that much time with our family to begin with, or enjoy spending a lot of time with them. Who knows where you are on the spectrum? Hopefully on the latter, but we know it all exists. So today we want to be talking more specifically about what we're thankful for in this whole crazy online marketing world. We know that over the last year, we've heard a lot of people share maybe some more negative thoughts, but we think there's a lot of things to be
down, kind of in a downer year.
Yeah, you know, it's funny what we thought 2020 was going to be. Remember, we thought that was a depressing year.
Yeah.
And turned out to kind of rock.
On the business side, it was like, whoa.
Yeah. And we didn't, we lived in Boise, so I think it never was that bad for us because we'd had to be locked in nowhere. I'd say 2024 for a lot of people felt tough. And searching for answers more than getting results, which is sometimes a tough place to be. And you might be reflecting right now and looking at all the things to not be grateful for. But we want to shift that because I think there's still a ton of grateful stuff that I'm really grateful for and thankful for. And I know you felt similarly. So if we could kind of jump in that, lift your spirits. Well, then you lower them with some terrafin, or what's the thing that makes you sleepy with turkey? Not terrafin. What is it called? Tryptophan.
Yeah.
Tryptophan. So so you get all sleepy on your tryptophan. Although we really should say that I'm thankful that some people don't just have turkey for Thanksgiving. They do prime rib and ham like you should, because that's much better as a protein.
Superior.
But anyway, so let's move away from that. Although you have the best turkey alternative that you mentioned earlier.
I won't be able to do it because I'm getting vetoed at home, but I'm going to figure it out. I think I will do it for my birthday in January.
Okay.
Which is going to be ostrich leg. I want to smoke an ostrich drumstick.
I want to be there for that. Yeah. So, and here's my thing that blitz the socials to tell Thomas's wife that he needs to do the ostrich egg for Thanksgiving. Let's create community pressure on that veto. But with that though, let's actually start with you, Thomas. I'm curious, what's one thing that you're really thankful for over the last year in this whole wild affiliate marketing space, particularly that's getting you positive and feeling good going into next year?
Elections are over.
Woo!
Yeah. I mean, regardless of where you land on, it's either one side or the other, right? If you're feeling good or terrible about it, regardless of that, they're over. And now we can deal with what's to come, but we can also, the election spending that everyone's been talking about on the marketing side is out of our systems and out of Facebook's system, and CPMs are in theory going to drop like we've been hoping they would. But I think now we'll actually get some clarity. Because I think what has been the hard part to determine, in my opinion anyway, are CPMs up because election spending is up? Yeah, you could probably argue that to a pretty relative degree. But how much of the economy is actually just really tight? And are people just not spending as much? Is that why email's down more? Like what's going on actually in the economy that we're feeling? And that's going to take time to play out. But I think we'll have less noise, especially once we're past the holiday shopping season, of course, too. But I think as we get, elections being over, we can get past that and the hemming and hawing of CPMs on that side of it, and then really figure out, cool, is that true? Or is there something else going on and then we're going to have to keep being adaptable?
Yeah. Well, because I wonder too, I think there's a lot of behavior that we don't always think about that go along with that. Particularly, I think this election being one, we saw the spending was crazy high from both sides in terms of going out and getting attention. But that also means that I think some things people don't think about is when the attention for political stuff is everywhere, maybe you just don't watch as much. Maybe you just don't pay attention as much. Maybe you're turning down that phone so there were less eyeballs. Kind of the inverse of the effect that we saw when the pandemic happened. Everyone's like, I better stare at this computer and phone in front of me because I have a lot more time. Maybe people are turning away. So I'm very curious to see that behavior in terms of, do we see people just looking at the internet again? Or maybe there's just less fear in their head or more fear. It's kind of hard to say depending on those outcomes. How is that going to change buyer intent? I know one for me that I'm really curious to see is, are we going to see, again, based on, and this is not I hope we really establish here, this is apolitical as we talk about these things, But like, there's probably going to be a portion of the country that has a lot of optimism and optimism financially. What does that mean towards their wallet books?
Yeah,
Are they going to
the
shell
more
out more
spend.
dollars, or is it just going to be rah rah? I'm waiting to see a different signal beyond just the president-elect. So very, very curious. But I agree with you. I think not having this, I don't want to say a black cloud, but a gray cloud, a mist of political confusion would be really nice to just have go away.
You saw in the markets when the markets surge, right? And the Trump supporters are going to go, it's because Trump, and everyone's stoked about Trump, and now the markets are surging. I think they would have surged no matter who was elected.
Yep.
Because now there's clarity.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
people and businesses and investors are going to go, great. Now we can know at least what to anticipate, and we can make our bets either way, right? Versus just we're going to wait.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure historically markets always do well post-election.
When the big R is in.
Yeah. And well, I imagine even sometimes latter.
Yeah.
Because there's a swelling group of people that it feels optimism.
Yes.
And we know that markets move based on optimism and outlook oftentimes quite a bit. It's not necessarily a long-term move, but you'll see those optimistic movements. So, and we won't go into all that stuff and how human beings aren't quants, but yeah, so I'm very curious as well. So, one thing I'm really thankful for, and we'll just keep it on those lines, but I'm going to say, again, apolitical. We should have like a warning sign, like not a political statement. But one of the things,
come for us, please.
One of the things that I am really thankful for is actually the Donald Trump candidacy. But I'm going to say this not in terms of political opinion, but I think one of the things that he has shown way back in 2016 is the ability to buck and change certain what we consider market truths to open up different behavior from consumers. So I'm just really curious because when we saw that, I would say this in survival products. So I'll use an example in our market.
I was going to say, do you have an example?
Historically, when survival products, like we have a conservative president, a lot of fear-based products and survival products go way, 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 way down, and it gets gadgets, right? But we didn't necessarily see that over the Trump presidency. We maybe saw some of the survival stuff in terms of, the grid will collapse. But what we saw instead was memorabilia became on the rise. We had not seen that before.
It's like celebrity personality aspect of it, right? Yeah.
And, one of the other things that I find really interesting that's going on is ties to the presidency is, and again, these are not political statements, just things I think of in terms of, hey, what are consumers going to do with that information? Is a lot of what we're seeing around RFK and these changes about policies are changing, regulatory agencies are changing. And it's going to be cleaned up, quote unquote, right? Whatever that might mean. But I think what's interesting about that is what is that going to do for the supplement market? What is that going to do for markets that tend to be more contrarian, right? They're going against these realms of the government. Is that going to increase the conversions? But there's also a realm, it might decrease them, right?
Yeah, you don't really know, right? But
we're not really sure. And I'm just so curious. And I get thankful for that because that provides opportunity, right?
Yeah.
Other people might not be thinking about it that way. And when they approach things with a standard mindset to a completely non-standard situation, especially big established traditional media buyers and advertising companies are likely to lose. But if you want to be dynamic and a maverick and look at these behaviors and kind of the ways that are different that people have never behaved before, and you lean off those trends, there's a good chance you might find yourself making some very successful ad campaigns. And I would say I'm not just looking at the people that follow that, but what if you're on the flip side of that, right? What if you don't follow these policies? That means you're going to have some sort of buyer behavior that might be completely different that we've never seen before. Boy, those things excite me. And I would want to find all of them because that's where I think easy money tends up happening.
Yeah, it sounds like there's maybe new opportunities for kind of blue oceans, if you will, to a degree, kind of like new markets that can emerge, or at least existing markets shifting in how you can approach them, right?
Yeah.
That kind of, that's a good point.
Marketing language, right? We have different voices, and whoever comes up with a way to speak that voice, speak that hook, you'll see wild success from it. Even if it's something in a product that has existed for 25 years. It looks new all of a sudden with a different skin, a different face, and a different voice. So I think that could be really exciting. And I would encourage all of you guys to be very grateful and look for the same things because we're seeing atypical human behavior, so you might as well profit off of it.
Well, that kind of, I think, dovetails into, I'll kind of jump down my list here, I guess, a little bit and skip some things that we'll come back to, but it's like the adaptability I think we've seen this year from some people, right? I think and we've talked about this a little bit in some of the previous podcasts, but for a long time, like last 4 to 6 years, people got fairly locked in to a certain way of doing things on our platform. And it was, we're going to promote VSL supplements and affiliates. We're going to promote VSL supplements. They pay the most, they convert the best. convert the best is relative. They convert the best to like a earnings per click basis, right?
Yep.
And it was very difficult once those types of offers got a foothold to get affiliates to test different things, right? They're like, nope, this converts the best. Oh, it's not a VSL. Nope, get out of here. Oh, it's not a supplement. Nope, get out of here. And you're like, I swear this is a good offer. Like, it deserves more traffic.
Yeah.
And it's like, it felt bad for these offer owners. We're just like, what's going on? Like, I'm just getting beat over the head with, and now we're seeing this year in particular, and you've been a big proponent of this, and I think a big driver in this. So I'm thankful for you, Kyle, for driving some of this behavior, but having those conversations with media buyers to say, hey, test this offer, right? No, it's not a supplement. Yes, it is a lower ticket digital. This is why you should promote it. This is why you should jump on it early. And we've seen that pay off very well for a few key media buyer affiliates and the sellers behind those. And we've seen a groundswell starting to happen again in that space. I think it's because these media buyers have had to be adaptable. The things that were working weren't working as well, so it works better. And it's kind of looking back at how many people do you know in the space that got into it because of the 2007, 2008 recession?
Yeah,
right?
Quite a bit, yeah.
Right? That big shift, and this has been a more subtle shift, but when things start to tighten up, it kind of forces change in people's lives. And even to this degree, right, the good marketers who really know how to pivot and adapt are going to separate themselves. If things continue to be hard, let's say, they're going to continue to separate themselves with trying new things, breaking out of that mold, getting additional scale somewhere else. The people who do just, I do it this way and I only know how to do it this way, and I'm kind of just plugging and pasting what has worked for me in the past, might continue to struggle. But what I'm thankful for is the people that do initiate that change, do innovate to a degree, and kind of help drive that forward.
Yeah, no, I love that because I think one of the things I've always loved about this industry is the creativity that comes out of it. And that is definitely what allows you to be adaptable. Those that could be creative and look at these problems, even though sometimes it might be out of necessity. Man, if that isn't the best place to thrive from sometimes.
So it's very American, right?
Yeah. It's super
I know we've got a very international audience, but America.
Yeah, well, you know,
Thanksgiving.
and honestly, if we talk to a lot of international clients, that alone, that adaptability and grit and the creativity to solve a problem is one of the things that a lot of people gravitate in American culture, you know, and I think they see that.
All our Romanian clients, right? When we've both been to Romania and spent time out there, and it's like, when I see the Romanians and how they operate, it's like they have a lot of grit and they know how to make things work, and they just put their head down and get after it. And they kind of, it's almost like this burgeoning Western culture there to a degree that they're kind of embracing.
Yeah.
And they're like, I don't say they want to be like an American, but because that would be a gross misrepresentation.
Yeah.
But they're kind of operating in that like, yeah, I can make this happen for myself. Yeehaw. Like, let's go
Yeah.
get it, right?
They call it the, it's the American dream quotient.
Yeah.
So it's when you could go from the lowest tax bracket to the highest tax bracket within a generation.
And now we're seeing that in Brazil, right? Brazil's been a huge growth over the last year kind of thing. And I think we've got more signups from Brazil now than any other country over the last 6 months. And we're seeing that same shift happen where it's like, oh, the US dollar that I can make marketing these products goes a lot further to me than it does doing anything else I could.
Yeah.
Which brings about some certain other aspects.
Yes,
right?
yes, exactly. I mean, from a competitive standpoint, and we could put there is just more that I think one of the great and exciting things is innovation could happen from all over the globe now, right? Where you know, funny enough, I mentioned that American dream quotient. We as a country have been shrinking in our ability to make that happen, and it's been outside of our country that the American dream seems to be fostering and flourishing in ways that aren't even happening here.
Our waistbands have grown.
Yes.
And our drive has not.
Yes, exactly. But again, I won't make any political opining on that. But I find that very interesting. And again, it actually gets me really excited because that gives so much more opportunity for innovation and creativity to happen. And kind of like you were talking about, whether that's looking at a market differently. And I will say this, the wheels of the economy do not move fast. So anyone that's thinking that there's just going to be a sudden shift and things will get drastically better, and that's very unlikely and historically not seen. So just remember that historically these things take some time, and a lot of the problems that we're facing are not quick fixes for those that enjoy economics. So this is not an economic podcast, so we won't talk about
Have
that.
we soft landed yet?
We won't go into that necessarily, but I think there's also, you should always be looking at other areas, right? Continue to be creative. Like whether that's, okay, we know this VSL style has been this way is working. What's another way to do it?
Yeah.
What if I could do, instead of 60 minutes, what if I could do it in 30? Right? Or what if it's, I want to change the entire model and I'm not going to do a 1-3-6. I'm going to do a 1-2-3. Right.
And so it's more of a BOGO again, right?
Yeah.
Like a buy three, get two kind of deal.
Maybe I'm lifting more into the economic markets, right? Or, whether it's BizOp offers, or one that I've been thinking a lot about lately is, we know that during periods of financial strife, and particularly when let's even talk about this. If it is indeed true that this new government is going to clear out a lot of the other current government positions, unemployment would increase. What's one of the we know that finance is a big piece of employment, but the other thing that people don't want to talk about is the strain it puts on relationships. So I would tell you that dating offers and relationship offers are going to become very, very valuable, and you'll see them increasing in terms of conversions.
Products, right? How to improve your marriage.
Yep.
The divorce products.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Everything around that, right? You might have people that are now in a position.
CPL offers for divorce attorneys. Yeah.
Yep. It could even be, men's workout offers for men in middle ages, right? You're newly single. You can't be fat slob anymore. You probably shouldn't have been beforehand, but here you are, right? That's where, again, we go back to BizOp. Maybe it's targeting offers that help moms create financial independence, right? We know that might be a time that's a very, very viable product if it's specifically targeted towards that audience. So I think if you start looking at some of these auxiliary areas and getting creative and innovating, and not only does it get me really excited when I hear that, because it's just the coolest stuff and I love hearing new marketing things, but we'll also find new clients shift. Yeah. You mentioned 08. I know Dom mentioned we had a record year in 09, which is not surprising to me, but that's because of the adaptability of this industry. We move where the buyers are, not necessarily stuck with where our product is, which is exciting. So something else that as we go back to kind of the thankful stuff and things that I'm just always thankful for. But I'm going to say, it sounds crazy, but events, I'm always grateful for events. And I know sometimes these could be tough because, you might be going to too many events and you feel like you're getting stretched and you don't remember what it is. You see the same people. But, I've had a chance to go to some new events this year, established and going to ones that I've been to a lot. And they're just always amazing. Whether it's an event you think you're not going to know anybody and you see people you haven't seen in several years and you get to reconnect, and it's very, very powerful and a great thing I'd actually say this, elevate beyond business, right? We learn a lot of great business stuff at events, but I think events remind us that we're all human beings, and being able to remember that we're human beings, connect as human beings, and also see the myriad of the human experience, right? So connecting with the people that might be struggling over this last year, but also connecting with some people that are totally crushing it, right? And doing really, really well. And then fortunately, our business allows us to connect those two people
right?
together.
If you have been struggling this year and you see someone that isn't, it's like, oh,
yes,
what are they doing, right?
And being able to connect the two, right? It's been huge. And seeing sometimes there's huge opportunity there. Jay Abraham said this is like, your problem that you need solved for is probably somebody else's much larger problem, right? So, and it was always one of those things that really made me think that oftentimes you might be struggling in your business, but there's a good chance that you present a massive value add and you're maybe struggling with traffic. Somebody else is like, we had Molly Pittman talked about this a lot at Smart Marketer, which is you need a physical product. If you're selling info, where's your physical components? And I might be a physical product seller. I'm like, man, I wish I had more traffic that I didn't have to pay for in terms of paid media, which has gotten so challenging for me. Well, boy, those two people feel like they might be able to sync up and solve some problems, right? So I think, again, as we go to innovation, but events and meeting people and connecting outside of yourself on a human-to-human level, not only does it uplift your spirits, but it could be very, very monetarily beneficial. So I'm just always so grateful for them, and especially the new ones. I'll do a quick shout out to a couple, too, that I just think really surprised me this year. I got to go to my first 4 rooms, which was just fantastic. Amber does such an amazing job there. And I would tell you...
The LA one, right?
Yeah, it was an intensive. And I've heard that's just like a sniffle of what you could really
so you went to one of the ones that you have to be join their annual one to go to. Yeah, they do a few of those through the year. I'm tomorrow night, I'm flying out to their big event in Orlando. Which I'm really excited for. Yeah,
that should be super exciting. And then, because it goes, what I was going to say too on that is, I think one of the things that's really powerful to me from that event is if you want to go from I think I'm doing good, but I want to be like a real business. Holy cow, getting 4 rooms yesterday, right? Yeah. It'll really get you there. But the other one is Jordan Hall's brand new Profit Multiplier. Just blown away. I would say the last time I was that blown away by a first mastermind was the first time I went to Copy Accelerator.
Was that the first time you'd run that?
Yeah, this is the first time. It was the first time he's run that. And it was Copy Accelerator for the first time. Yeah. And so very similar, but I think it's another just great impact. And I just wanted to put some shout outs to those 2 events because they're fantastic. And if you find yourself, hey, I don't have a mastermind I'm going to, I would strongly encourage you to find that home event. And there's lots of great ones out there. We didn't mention like your Driven, Flight Clubs. There's probably more we're forgetting. But those are just 2 that really surprised me over the latter half of this year.
I'll come at it from kind of, because I didn't travel for a year.
Yeah.
Right, with the new baby and everything. And Platinum Summit, it's about a month ago now. About to the date. I was keynote spoke at it, and I was very thankful to do that and humbled to do that. But just that was being the first event back after a year of not traveling was really cool. Just to kind of come in, not fresh, but I guess almost like fresh eyes to it to a degree. I didn't realize how much I'd missed traveling. Because like, oh yeah, like being at home, like being with the girls, right, with the family, and kind of all this kind of stuff. But it's like the friends I have in the space that I hadn't seen in a year, and just reconnecting, meeting new people. I found my brain coming back. I was just like re-energized again with new ideas and all the whatabouts and meeting people doing unique businesses, right, that are even like completely separate from what we do at ClickBank, but they just also are doing affiliate marketing to a degree. Just learning about the entrepreneur behind it is what really fires me up and really inspires me to kind of, I came back with a lot of energy. And going back to the community piece, right, like being on the bus, going back to the airport, you're sitting by 2 multi-diamond media buyers who are trading notes, just, shooting the breeze, kind of going back to the airport. Oh, you run that way? Oh, interesting. On Facebook, it doesn't work that way. We have to do it this way. Oh, I heard someone else do it. Right. And they're just kind of challenging each other to a degree, but just like really like, oh, cool. I could never get that to work. That's awesome that you are. And they're just, almost that like adaptability component. You can almost see it happening in real time. That's what I find really cool about those events is how they can come together, bring those people together in those ad hoc conversations that spike. You don't really know when they're going to happen. Yeah. But when they do, there's going to be so much value in that moment.
Yeah. No, definitely. And I'll do one little thing just that it happened at that Smart Marketer event. Super, super interesting. But there was a woman who we had, Gabby Bernstein spoke as like kind of the keynote speaker at that. And there was a woman that was just she ran a Facebook, very small Facebook agency that they did like local toy companies in the UK, right? She had happened as a passion project, had written a book and was developing a community to teach women entrepreneurship. And she gave the book to Gabby Bernstein on stage and completely shifted so many things for her in that moment where she's like, I have this agency, and I ended up connecting with her afterwards. I'm like, hey, you actually have a bigger thing here and a large community of women that have chosen to trust you to teach them how to be entrepreneurs. Have you thought about how to monetize that? And so we had a very different conversation. It was really, really exciting for her. But if she didn't go to that event, she doesn't realize and have the serendipitous connection where she got a chance to give Gabby Bernstein her book, learns, like, is empowered and talks to all these people that build her up and say, hey, this is actually the business opportunity that you should develop. And then fortunately, I was able to meet her and give her the path to what monetization looks like immediately. So it's like really, really crazy things that happen at these little events sometimes, even if maybe you aren't fully involved in the community yet. It might find itself to be involved with you, whether you want it to.
I love that. So I'd say to the listeners, I'd challenge you, if you haven't been to an event ever, right, I would challenge you to get to maybe one of the bigger conferences or something like that, where we do a road show, or there's different networking parties. Just kind of go to one, break out, get into the space, and just meet some people face to face. And if you are the person who's just kind of typically does the big ones, the affiliate worlds, affiliate summits, kind of globetrot, I would pick at least one of like the smaller masterminds that you can check out, right? Usually you can get like a friends and family invite or something like that, or it's like the Orlando 4 Rooms big event where they kind of let anyone in, and then you can choose to join the higher ticket one if you want to. But I'd really think about what are those like more in-depth, in-person masterminds, maybe, and those are usually what, 30 to 150 people in size?
Yeah. I'd say 150 max.
Yeah, to me then it's more small conference once it gets past that. But if you've only been to the big conferences, I'd be really looking, what is one of those smaller ones I can go to? It's more learning focused. It's more deep relationship focused just because there's less people there. You can go deeper over a course of time and just challenge yourself to kind of get out of that cycle, not out of it, but just kind of add something to the cycle you've been in, whatever that might be.
Yeah, no, I love it because it'll spark your brain to get on fire. And I would even say one caveat: if you're going to the smaller events, try and find one that's either mingled or somewhat outside of your core business.
Yeah.
Where there might be some other people there, but there's gonna be businesses that are totally different than yours that you've never heard about before. Because you're right. Like I've learned so many weird and interesting and valuable concepts before from businesses that have nothing to do with what we do. Aren't even working with affiliates. And there's some really powerful stuff to get your brain on fire. As we talked about being adaptable and creative, I can actually tell you like one of the things that really started shifting my mindset was going to a mastermind and finding out information that had nothing to do with our industry. And I was like, oh, cool. This completely validates all this stuff I knew over here, but I never would have gotten that if I didn't show up to this place.
We just the validation piece I think is big. Sometimes people go wanting the new thing, but oftentimes it's just getting validation that, oh, I am on the right path. I should double down on what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Because, right, this shiny object syndrome of the space is rampant. I think it is with any entrepreneurial space. But just, I know that's for me a lot of the times when we have leadership training here or something like that, or not that I'm doing everything right, but oftentimes it's like, cool, okay, I'm thinking about this the right way. I'm doing 80% of the stuff right. There's some things I can adapt to, but I don't have to drastically change anything.
Yeah.
Because that's often the case too. It's like, no, you're probably doing the right thing. It might just be a small tweak or a look over here or a lever you can pull here that has a big compound effect. But overall, your business is the right business you're in. You don't have to go drastically change anything. It's just, So that validation piece I think is really important too.
Agreed. Sometimes just being able to be validated to move forward with 100% confidence could be the massive difference, right? So that's beautiful. Well, let's give one more thankful thing for you, and I think we need to do some Thanksgiving toasts because it feels toast worthy as we sit with brown Thanksgiving liquid in front of us.
I'll get a little selfish here and just talk about kind of like, I guess the ClickBank team we've got, right? I think, I started in this new role at ClickBank a little less than a year ago now, kind of overseeing the business development team. And just on that team specifically, I'm very thankful for yourself and Kyle Meredith and everyone else on the team who's just really A players, really steps up and expanded the team, right? Watching Jordan and Kirsten share today what they're doing in the Golden Accelerator program and just how much attention to detail they give those people in those programs and help those kind of silver, gold, people who are in the 25K and up kind of ascend to platinum. And just, it's like, wow, like we do, I think a lot of times when you're at a company, you see a lot of the warts and what we could do better. And that can be because you know the business so well, right? And you're like, oh, I wish we could do this better. I wish we could do that better. But what I've really come to appreciate lately is just, we have some amazing people here that can really transform our clients' businesses. And watching you do that with your clients, watching Kyle Meredith do it, watching Michael and Alan do it, right? All these people on the teams that can really implement, watching Allison build these new partnerships out and really cater to them and help this new business happen across two big companies. It's just so, and I can make countless other examples of that. It's like, okay, watching how clients can start to engage with us more. And that fires me up. Like, how do we get more of that out there into the space, right? How do we help that happen on a more macro level? How do we help more people get in touch with you? How do we help that message go out? It's kind of where I start to go. And now I was getting into more of like, what could we do more of? But really we have a lot of amazing people here that can really change our clients' businesses that are very passionate and care. And then also about each other, right? Watching you and Kyle, we brought in a boomerang BDM, right, with Cam.
Can we start calling Cam the boomerang?
The boomerang,
that sounds great,
right. He used to be a BDM almost 8 years ago here, and he's come back in it. And the BDM role, if people aren't aware, is somewhat competitive, right? You eat what you kill to a degree on the business you bring to ClickBank. You get commission for it. If another BDM gets that business, it gets to that person first almost, like you're kind of competing in a sense for leads to a degree. Yeah. But watching how everyone on the team has really just helped Cam get up to speed, has given him feedback, helped him get the right foot forward, you inviting him to come on the road with you to these events and things like that. It's like, wow, like we have such a selfless team. I think that just is reflective of how you operate externally with your clients and also internally with something like that. So that's what, this is a very long-winded way of saying I'm very thankful for the team we have here at ClickBank.
Yeah. No, I think that's a great mention. It's obviously self-serving, but I love it anyway. So, and I would even say, I think one of the things to expand to that where I think the front-facing, client-facing team, because I know I always use this line, and I use it because I truly believe it, and at least I've always, as an account manager, I've always tried to adopt this mentality since I started here, which is we don't want to be a vendor. We want to be an extension of your team. We know at ClickBank that being an entrepreneur is lonely as hell, especially when you're a solopreneur. You really just seem like an insane person to everyone else in your life, which is crazy because we still see a lot of people, more people doing stuff online, but still, like, I think it's more owning your own business. It takes... You think differently, you operate differently than other people.
It's crazy too, because as you scale, you almost, in a sad way, kind of, in some cases, leave the friend group behind you had. And it's somewhat economical, but somewhat just, it's like, because you are thinking differently. You are focusing on different things. You are in your business a lot more. It's like, so it's like the loneliness isn't just from like, this is hard, but it just changes who you are as a person a bit.
It does.
It's like that season of life changes.
They're talking about their bosses, right? And the directions their company's going in. You're talking about, hey, I support people's mouths to feed. And my decisions will change their livelihood. I'm the boss they're complaining about, right?
Even if you're a solopreneur, that's you, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Or your family.
It's a very different thing very quickly. So we understand that. And so I think when you have someone that's not going to be a vendor, but they're going to be an extension of your team that's mutually aligned with your success. But one thing I think a lot of people don't know, and I don't do a good job communicating this, but I'm really thankful for, is that does extend beyond just our sales team. So, our marketing team is fantastic at this. Obviously, we wouldn't do any of this without Dylan.
Hi, Dylan.
If we could just say, like, Dylan's obviously amazing. Any of our in-person guests have been able to interact with them. They can't say enough good things about him. I try and shield that because I don't want Dylan getting a fat head. We need to keep him very
Dylan,
humble.
Could you, like, boost the mic or something?
Because you're not that good. But we're grateful for what you can do. But no, like, and even this is going to be really controversial, but sometimes even our like risk and compliance teams, which I know sometimes feels like a thorn in your side. But I've talked to the members of those team, and they really want nothing more than our clients to be successful. And where there might be a difference of opinion on what that looks like, it's still a mutual alignment. I
being
think
at Platinum
really
Summit, right, with Sherry out there and Jen out there, right, and Kerrigan, he's a third-party legal counsel that works with a lot of our clients too. Watching them meet with these clients who are having some different issues, different compliance aspects or quality aspects of their business. Just watching them really just, hey, let's open up the books. Let's like figure out what's going on. We want to help you. Watching these clients like realize like, oh, I've got a team here. It's not this like scary boogeyman of risk and compliance that's going to get me. It's like, no, they want to actually help me succeed, because if I succeed, we succeed. And it really is a win-win.
Mutual alignments. And so I just think, I love that. And I think it's something that I'm always really grateful for. And I will say, the community piece, I've worked at a lot of different places. The family-oriented culture that emanates through this building is truly unique, right? It's very unique. I've been to a lot of other companies, and none have ever felt like this, which is why this is the only company I've ever come back to.
You're a boomeranger.
I am a boomeranger, so that's why. So Cam just has to come back a third time, then he can be the ultimate boomerang.
I think Allison's got us beat.
You're right. She's been like, this is her third go round.
Third or fourth,
Third or fourth, So, geez, Allison, hold the job down. I'm glad that was recorded forever. But no, I think that's something that always really, and as we get through our holiday party that we're going to go through, that always just really captures that. I think it's something that when you feel like, we hear people talk about the affiliate marketing industry, that it feels like a family. Well, I could tell you ClickBank, the entire company operates under that culture. And it's not to say that it's perfect, and it's not to say there aren't times you don't argue with your family. But in fact, I would say the fact that you can, and that's something that does happen, just continues to reinforce that feeling. So, I mean, it's just, I would say all those out there, if you don't have an account manager, worth get one, or go into the Spark program. That's where you can actually get a taste of that, because that same commitment to their students are the same commitments that our account managers, our sales reps, our affiliate managers have for their clients. And for those of you that are being managed, I would encourage you all to reach out and let them know what they mean to you, because you mean a lot to them.
I was talking to someone at Platinum Summit, and I was like, listen, our extended network here at ClickBank is pretty widespread, right? So it's like, they're like, oh, we're going to be traveling over to this place, part of the world before affiliate world, and things like that. I was like, cool. Hey, little hack. Ask your account rep at ClickBank if we know anyone in that space. If you want it to turn into like a business trip, if it's not just a personal thing, if you want to meet people, we probably know people in almost any city you're going to.
Yep.
Right? So reach out. Not that we're going to coordinate like a whole bunch of dinners for you or anything out there, but hey, we can probably make some connections to some other people that do the same thing you do. Maybe a completely different niche, but who cares?
Yeah.
If you want that soft landing, if you will, and kind of be able to meet someone who can show you the ropes.
At least that would make you not feel as much of a tourist when you're there, and then you have that connection 100%.
Or, hey, now it's a justifiable business write-off.
Yep.
So there you go.
Get across that IRS.
Yeah.
Totally. Don't consult your tax attorney before you make that decision, but we're happy to help. Happy to help.
We're visiting clients.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Yeah. No, I think that's amazing. So, one thing I wanted to do, Thomas, as we get towards the end, we have been sitting with our delectable affiliated liquor, our homemade bourbon. That Dylan made at his bathtub himself.
Surprisingly good for bathtub.
Yeah, it's really shocking. Better than my bathtub bourbon.
It is. That was terrible.
Yeah, it was real bad, real rough stuff. I don't know if I've been able to grow hair back here from it. So, but
those are the hair left over.
Yeah. But I think we need to do a Thanksgiving toast to finish things out. So those are like whatever you want with your Thanksgiving toast. It could be vengeful. It could be grateful. It could be all just jokes, whatever you want. But grab your drink. I'll make you go first because that's more fun for me. So would you like to go? What would you like to toast?
Well, I kind of look at the brand on this, the affiliated cup here, right? And I think about the listeners we have and the people that reach out. I was just showing Dylan this before he hopped on, right? Someone reached out, Mr. Novak, if you're watching, thank you. They just reached out, hey, thank you so much for the content you put out. It really means a lot. Keep doing what you're doing. And it's like, oh, that is so validating to hear because I just crave external validation in my small ego brain. But I think you might feel this way. It's like, right, we put this content out there. We hope it resonates. We hope we're adding value. We don't always know it. And so to have that unprompted feedback from someone, to know that something we're putting out there is landing means the world. Yeah. So I just say thank you if you're a listener, if you've been listening for a while, if it's your first time listening, thank you so much for being that affiliated team and helping us grow this. And I trust growing your business along with us.
Beautiful. Well, that's a great cheers there. Bam, bam. All right, one sip and then I'll do my toast. Dylan, I don't know what you do in your bathtub, but if you're watching dogs, ticks, it's so delicious and smooth. Yeah. So to dogs. No, just kidding. So for my toast, I want to go a little bit similar. I won't say listeners specifically, but I'm actually going to say I'm going to toast to entrepreneurs. People are out there that oftentimes are professionally unemployable, but I think more importantly, willing to do something different. Because the entrepreneurs are the people that not only make the country better, but they make the world better. Because at the end of the day, progress tends to happen through the private industry first in terms of change, in terms of making our lives better, in terms of making other lives better. But people that are willing to break systems, change things, and do it for, even if it's their own gain sometimes, they just make the world at least a more interesting and exciting place. So you don't have to be an eccentric like Elon Musk. You could actually be someone like a podcast guest we're going to have on soon named Steven. I'm going to butcher his last name because I always do, Exel with Truly Free. A guy doing some really cool, impactful stuff just to help people because you know what? If he didn't do it, who would? And that's what entrepreneurs are because no one else wants to do it. You're willing to. And toast to you. Be grateful for you. Be grateful that you exist. And damn it, keep doing it. Because if it wasn't for you guys, we wouldn't be sitting here talking. And, you know, think of all the things we wouldn't have in life. So you are the reason that we're all here. You're going to be the reason that we continue to be here. And you're going to be the reason that the world's a better place. So toast to entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
Bing.
Keep being so fun to work with, too. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, with that, guys,
I think it's the toenail tannins.
As we go with another successful episode of Pillow Time, we hug our pillows, which now with the bathtub bourbon makes me want to sleep more.
Look at this. Yeah.
The tube. Yeah, you are matching your pillow today, so very nice. Thomas would match his pillow. I feel like from now on, all Pillow Talk episodes will have blue and white shirts with Thomas. But please, guys, please rate, review, subscribe. Also, as Thomas mentioned, with I already forgot his name, and I said that we need to shout him out. But please,
that was a different person.
Oh, it's different. Yeah. So there was someone I was going to shout out, and I forgot their name. So next episode, we'll get that prepared. But please reach out to us. Let us know the impacts that these episodes make, things you like to see, things you'd like to hear more of, or people you'd like us to interview. We really do take this into heart. And as well as, too, if you go out to that first event and you happen to see Thomas or I, please run up very aggressively, chase us down, and let us know the impact that we made on you. Outside the aggressive, scary running up part, but please do.
Yeah.
It means a lot to us, as you mean a lot to us. And we do this all for you. So until next time, what do we tell the people, Thomas?
Happy scaling.
Happy scaling. Thanks so much, guys. Happy Thanksgiving.